Hey everyone, this is editor Bill Hernandez with rockbandreviews.com, and thank you for joining us for another artist interview segment. Today I have the pleasure of speaking with Rick Phillips, and Rick is a bass guitarist and a member of the rock band STYX since 2003, splitting duties with longtime bassist Chuck Panozzo. STYX will be performing live along with REO Speedwagon and Loverboy at the I Think Financial Amphitheater on June 19th. Tickets are available at most online ticket outlets and at the I Think Financial Amphitheater box office. Good morning, Ricky, and thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to talk with us today.
Yeah, Bill, my pleasure. Good to be here.
You know, I finally got you. I mean, I think I've been through every band member over the years, and they saved the best for last, I guess.
Yeah, well, you know, we'll see. Time will tell.
And I tell you, the last 2 years, of course, has been crazy because of the coronavirus, and I know you've been doing shows recently and such, but it must be finally great to be back on the road and doing shows again.
Yes, it seemed like a lost year. We decided as a band to write and record a new record, and so we were all at home, which we all live in basically different cities. Todd Zuckerman and I both live in Austin, Texas, but Lawrence lives in Toronto, Canada. Tommy's in Nashville. JY's in Chicago, which is where the band started. Chuck Panozzo is down in Florida. So we all worked from our own studios, and technology is so cool these days that you can have. As a matter of fact, here's a great way of explaining it. Todd Zuckerman is playing drums in his studio, but his personal engineer isn't even in his studio. His engineer is at his own home, running all the controls in Todd's studio through the technology that's available these days, while Tommy Shaw and Will Ivankovich, our newest member in STYX and also has produced the last two records, is watching and recording. So it's a crazy time. I chose to do my parts in Nashville, so it was right in the heat of COVID. So I had on a face mask and a regular mask underneath the face mask, and went to Nashville and recorded my parts in Tommy's studio. But we were able to get it done, and when it was released, the day it was released, it went to number one on the Billboard rock chart, which blew our minds, and still does actually. But we're really proud of the success, and that we decided let's make the most of this. Let's hunker down and let's get some new music out.
Oh, absolutely. And you were talking just now about the technology. You guys put together the, I believe it was Too Much Time on My Hands video, where each of you did that in your own homes or your studios and such. And let me tell you,
saw that,
dude, the technology has come so far. The sound is amazing, and just to see everybody, I'm one of those guys that if somebody posts a picture online, it's a friend of mine or something, I'm not looking at the main part of the picture. I'm looking at the background. I'm like, what's in their cabinets? What's on that table over there? I mean, I'm always looking at shit like that, So that's what I was doing. I'm like, man, look at the drummer, all those freaking drums he's got back there, and picking everything apart. But the sound of that was freaking amazing. I mean, the technology is great, and that's what became a lot of the norm and became very popular, was these socially distanced shows, so that you guys can keep entertaining people while doing it from the comfort of your own home or an empty venue somewhere.
Yeah, I think that, and it kind of goes back to when you're on the road, your studio starts to you're rushing to record something, or you got an idea and you want to get it down, and then you leave and you didn't clean up. So we all had a little bit of cleanup to do in our studios, but we had the time to do it during COVID. And so you caught us recording when we had just finally spruced up all of our own personal studios and getting all the gear back together, wired properly, and all that crazy stuff, the technical stuff that is all a part of the music. And I agree with you. That does sound really good, that recording, but it's just a goofy thing. We're just trying to think of something to do. What was that called? It was something coffee machine. Did you see that one?
No, I don't think I have.
Oh, you might not have seen that one. We did a spoof thing about Lawrence had a coffee machine that made this sound when it started up, and it would go, and it kept a rhythm. And we decided to clean the coffee machine. It's just ridiculous, obviously, but we put it out. It we filmed it and put it out, all of us again in our own studios, and it got passed around quite a bit. But I thought you might have seen that.
No, I'm going to check it out now, man. That sounds amazing, and it's funny because that segues kind of into my next question of what did you find yourself doing during the lockdown phase to keep busy? Well, we already know.
yeah, pretty much. It was there was a lot of work, but a lot of fun too, because we kept talking about when are we going to, management and agencies booking us like crazy, and we're going, when can we write we got to write a record here. We need to get back in the studio. So that forced our hand, and it was probably a blessing in disguise.
Sure. Now, how exciting is it to be on tour with REO Speedwagon and Loverboy? I mean, I'm sure you guys are just going to have a blast out there. And you've played with these guys before, right?
Well, yeah, we have, but this is the first time that all three bands have been paired together for a tour. And whoever did this, I don't even know if it was the agency or if it was management, but it's a brilliant move, because our first night was last night, and Loverboy came out with, they came out swinging. They've got so many hits.
Yeah. And
then we went on last night. There's a long-time rivalry between STYX and REO, friendly rivalry, but it goes way back. Both Illinois bands, and so we have this long-standing agreement that we flip-flop the closing slot. Oh. So last night we were opening. Tonight we close. And I'm not sure what it'll be in your direction, but it's one of those things that's going on. It works well, but all the bands are just, there's so many hits. It's a night full. Dude. Yeah. A lot of hits all night long.
Well, we're very excited, and again, we're going to be seeing you guys here June 19th at the I Think Amphitheater in West Palm Beach. Now, you have a very storied musical history. I mean, there's Montrose, Bad English, The Babies, Ted Nugent, the list goes on. And I mean, you must have a lot of stories to tell with all that experience. Have you ever thought of writing a book down the line?
Yes, people ask me that, I'm flattered that people would think that there would be that much interest, and I should have probably been making notes through all of this, because I've probably forgotten more than half of it. But yeah, I think some of the cool things that I've been able to do is to meet John Entwistle before he passed, and who was a big hero of mine, and Chris Squire. I toured with STYX and Yes toured together, and I had produced a record that I used Alan White, the drummer from Yes, on, and so through Alan, I was able to, he invited me to have lunch with him and Chris one day, and then through that kind of broke the ice. So throughout the tour, he was asking me, what are you playing through, and come on up on stage, let me show you what I'm playing through. Now, who gets to do that? I mean, this guy was my one of my heroes. There's a small group, and Paul McCartney, of course, for melody, and all the great songwriting. And then a guy named Tim Bogert started off in Vanilla Fudge, excuse me, and just a badass player, just a badass bass player that I've really, really always admired. Got to know Timmy before he passed, and it just seems as though I've been blessed in so many ways, in not just the bands I've been in, but the people I've been able to meet by being in those bands, and to be invited into the studio so many times to do sessions for, I don't know, Eddie Money or whoever it was. It's so diverse and across the board that I stop every once in a while and I think back on something and I go, man, how did I get here? This is a kid from a small town in Redding, California, to have been able to be blessed with all the good fortune of the people I've been able to meet, perform with, write with, and these are pinch me moments when I stop long enough to think about it.
Man, that's amazing. Now, finally, what is next for you in your personal life and for STYX? What's coming up? Well,
I never know. I don't get to write my own story. It seems to write itself. The band, we stay so busy in STYX that there's very little outside work and very few sessions I get to do. There is a guy in Austin by the name of David Gaylor I've been recording with. He's got an amazing studio in his home, and it's pretty progressive, little different than than STYX. It's not really based on commerciality in any way, but it's great musicianship and fun to do. But it's one of those things that again, I never know. All of a sudden, I'll find myself getting a phone call from somebody, and all of a sudden, I'm doing another thing altogether. And that, for me, is good. I think then I come back to my band, and we go out on the road, and I've got new information. I'm not getting stale or stagnant. And we never sit still long enough to get stagnant, to be honest. We're always creative. One of the things that may be interesting that people don't really realize, that before we walk out on that stage, we've been probably backstage. We always have a little warm-up room where we will be jamming. We will be singing face-to-face, listening to everybody's part, making sure that everybody's still singing the right note in the right place, warming up our voices, warming up our hands, our fingers. We're there for hours before we go on stage, and during that amount of time, everybody has a little different routine, but we know what we like to do so that when we walk out on stage, we're already at 10. We don't work up to 10 from 7 or 6 or something.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think you just walk off the bus, go on the stage, let's rock and roll, and you just go from there. There's a lot of
and a lot of bands do that. A lot of bands do that, but we don't. We have a really cool work ethic, and probably better than any band I've ever worked with, really. Everybody is that band I've been in warms up, but the way we do it is pretty intense, and by doing so, we can hit that first song with full belt. We're not like our voices are already warmed up and ready to go.
Well, it's apparent that you care a lot about the quality of the kind of music that you're putting out during a live performance, and you really care about your fans, and that's so important. And I just want to say thank you again for taking time out of your busy schedule. Good luck on the tour. We're going to see you again here June 19th at the Financial Amphitheater in West Palm Beach. We're looking forward to a rockin' show. We're doing interviews with the other bands as well, and we've covered them for so many years. We just saw you guys here a couple of months ago in Pompano Beach, so we're always there for you guys, and safe travels on the road, and we'll see you in June.
Thank you, Bill. Great talking to you.
Cheers, brother. Have a great one.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.